Showtime!
Don't hold me now, I can stand my own ground. I don't need your help, no, you won't let me down, down, down. Don't hold me now, I can stand my own ground. I don't need your help, no, you won't let me down, 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 down.
Alright, welcome back. This is the second game of WhiteRa versus Idra in the Razer TSL. WhiteRa, of course, putting a lot of pressure on Idra in this second game with a quick win in the first one. I'm expecting Idra to play extremely safely, and this map will reward him for that. Well, we're getting ready to go here. We've got WhiteRa down at 5 o'clock and Idra over at 7. So far my prediction is looking pretty lousy and my beer is at stake. What's going on here?
Well, your prediction isn't that bad. I think you did say WhiteRa should win, and he is up a game, so I'm kind of glad I didn't bet anything against you. But, you know, one thing that we have to take into consideration here, you know, Idra, a little bit of an emotional player after he loses a game. He doesn't seem to play as well in the next game. So, you know, that may factor in here. Hopefully he can keep that under control and play his best, because really, when you're playing WhiteRa, you need your best.
Yeah, I think that's something Korea may have taught him. I've heard from Idra that he is, you know, the worst player at Istra, which is expected as he is a foreigner coming fresh into the house. He loses a lot. I think he may have learned to deal with his losses, or I should hope so. And he's going to need to play his best here, and I think he knows it. There's a lot on the line.
Hey, yeah, that's right. I did ask for WhiteRa to win. Hey, so it's obvious that I'm a genius. So, well, let's keep my winning streak going here. We've got, like I said, Idra down at 7, and just across the map from him is WhiteRa at 5 o'clock. Both players just getting their gas, putting up their initial production facilities. Yeah, I would like to see Idra, you know, he's been in a dominant position in the foreigner scene for quite a while, where usually when he goes into a match, he is the favorite, and I'm really interested to see how, you know, not just being mediocre, but really being at the bottom of the pecking order in the Estro house. I really wonder how that's affected him, hopefully in a good way.
Well, you know, hopefully it has. You know, it's probably humbled him a little bit, seeing how good these Koreans are. And hopefully this high-level practice is going to pay off, because I tell you, Strelok is already out of the tournament, as we saw earlier. And so that leaves Brat okay for tomorrow and Idra for today for Terrans. So really, Idra, come on now. We are rooting for you. Play your best. Kill this WhiteRa kid and move on, please.
So we've got only 2 SCVs on gas. I'm not really familiar with what that can tell us. Why don't you fill us in, Artosis?
Well, by removing the SCVs from gas, it definitely means that he wants a quicker command center. He does not need that much gas so early. And it looks like with 2 SCVs on, I'm guessing it's not going to be an FD Terran. It looks more like it's going to be a siege expand. But he is making several Marines, so I could be wrong there. But definitely, he's saving up his minerals. He wants that command center really quick and really have an economy-based game.
Yeah, you see WhiteRa building up for Dragoons in range. Idra really learning from the last game and creating 4 Marines in order to protect his ramp. He does not want to go out like he did the last game. But WhiteRa, of course, not making a zealot at all, which is a little bit of a mind game from him. You know, maybe daring Idra to go Marines or not. No command center yet started for Idra. He's just finishing his add-on. And again, you see that a function of that big mineral block inside the Protoss main. Idra managing to run his scout out of harm's way, away from the Dragoon because of the narrow passage into that. Therefore, a probe is chasing him out of his base.
Now we see Idra sending his SCV up the side. It looks like he will be making a command center up there. Meanwhile, the tank is building 4 Marines at his ramp. He is totally safe. He has his SCV in the Protoss base for a while, as you said. So he just saw the 1 gate range going on. an economical build for WhiteRa. There goes the Nexus going off. So they're both expanding right around the same time. Idra with a defensive and safe build, WhiteRa just expanding off just a few units. So, you know, start out, no one's really ahead. Very close game.
It looks like Idra was trying to float his barracks over. I don't know if he was going to land that. Maybe block in, build a few Marines, and kill probes at the natural. That got shut down pretty quick by WhiteRa, so I don't know if he did that on purpose, but again, if it is luck, it's in WhiteRa's favor that he caught that.
Engineering bay going up for Idra now, as his command center is over halfway finished. So both players will, by the time Idra floats his command center over, both players will have expanded at roughly the same time. 2 more gateways down for WhiteRa now, still only the 1 factory for Idra as his siege is in progress. Yeah, if he had landed his barracks behind the mineral block, blocked in and built Marines, I would have been really happy.
Yeah, that would have been a pretty cool move, but those Dragoons went right down and caught it for whatever reason. As, you know, everyone knows it, Protoss players are the luckiest, and so he showed it right there. So he stops Idra from doing anything cute. And Idra just playing a defensive expand here. You know, this is the difference between a siege expand and an FD Terran. If he had FD Terran, he would know exactly what WhiteRa is doing right now. But, you know, as is, he has to play a little bit blind and a little bit more defensive. We see already that he has 1 turret. I expect to see probably about 2 more, maybe 1 in the natural somewhere, maybe 1 in the main. So WhiteRa taking advantage of that. Look at this, Stargate in the top of his main. That is dirty. That is going to be some quick carriers or arbiter. It looks like it will probably be carriers because we don't see any Citadel yet. So WhiteRa just looks like he doesn't want Idra to know what he's doing. You know, it's a good move against the turret expand because Idra is playing so blind. He has no way to scout yet because he's spending his minerals on the turrets as opposed to a scanner.
See now his academy just finishing up, but with the placement of that Stargate inside his main base, that is not the typical place that you would normally scan. And this is a bit of a risk from WhiteRa. If it's scouted, and he's already invested his money in the fleet beacon, which is extremely expensive, and if he's scouted, Idra can react very quickly. The thing Idra needs is more factories at this point. He's only got the 1 factory. He needs to put up several more in order to really get his unit count up.
He does, and we see him throwing up a couple more factories, and there we go. That'll be his 4th factory. In fact, if Idra just, you know, took all his units right now and attacked, he has like 6 tanks with siege, he has 4 Marines full health, and Ra with just 7 goons and 3 slow zealots, or 8 goons and 3 slow zealots. So if Idra attacked in microdwell, you know, he could actually push all the way up and maybe kill this expand. But, you know, he is playing blind, as I've said several times, but I can't stress it enough. This is a risk that you take with this style. The scanners are done, but if he doesn't scan those carriers pretty quickly, when Ra gets up to about 4, it's gonna be hell on earth, and Idra is gonna have a hard time doing anything.
Yeah, he's got the armory coming up. I don't know if this is for a flash build or if he smells carriers. I mean, he had an SCV out before, kind of indirectly scouting, looking for 3rd bases, and he didn't find any. He also hasn't seen a robotic, so it is possible that he does smell some sort of carrier build coming.
He's up to 5 factories now with 2 gateways, or 2 Stargates for WhiteRa. One of them already almost finished a carrier. The interceptor upgrade is working as well. WhiteRa playing very passively, is just preventing scouting, and Idra looks like he's unsieging and moving out here a little bit. I'm not sure if it's to take his next expansion or if he's going to be a bit more aggressive. He had to kill his own turret in order to get his tanks out, which is unfortunate. He needs to also kill that neutral building to make his pathing much easier.
That's true. You know, he really should have taken that neutral building out when he saw the carriers, but that's alright. It's not going to affect him too much. And we see him moving out now. Raw picking off a Vulture with those 4 Dragoons. It's going to be up to Raw here. It's going to have to micro very well. Idra has a nice amount of units here, and he may be able to push right in and kill this expand. Raw has really got to work on his positioning here. He's got 1 carrier done, interceptors building, but Idra being very smart, bringing a lot of SCVs. He's going to turret push his way right in, and 1 carrier is not good against turrets.
Oh wow, that was unbelievable.
Pardon me, you see now that Goliaths are building out of Idra's factory, so he knows what's coming. Look at the turrets, are all going up, and he's just going to push WhiterA right back into his natural here.
And push he does. The turrets going up everywhere. A couple more carriers building with others queued up. Look at WhiterA's minerals though. He's got like 800, so he is not macroing quite as much as he should be. And he has to be scared right now. It looks like he is way far behind. He may lose this expansion very quickly. Attack coming up, killing a lot of goons and zealots. Raw down to a very small army. But Idra lower in supply than Raw still. That's kind of cheap. And Idra right up at the natural. Siege those tanks, Idra. Kill that Nexus ASAP. But no, it looks like he is just attacking and backing off, waiting for these turrets to be built.
The problem is that WhiterA sent 5 Dragoons around to Idra's main, and he picked off all the reinforcements. All the Goliaths that were coming to help against the carriers were killed by these 5 Dragoons. Excellent play by WhiterA, really using his head. Idra putting up a massive amount of turrets now, trying to take down the interceptors.
Now a micro battle going on. These 5 goons still picking things off. SCVs and a tank chasing him away. Things are looking bad for Idra. His supply is falling. 65 supply. WhiterA at 100. He's got about 3 carriers right now. He is almost to that point of 4 where it becomes extremely hard to stop them. And he's only got a few units here. A ton of money spent on turrets. Look at how many turrets he has right outside of WhiterA's base, but not quite close enough to cover the tanks while attacking the natural. So WhiterA is pulling way ahead here. We may be seeing an upset. Idra may be going out in the first round.
Well, WhiterA is actually...
Three carriers now going into the Terran main. Looks like they're going to be forcing Idra to spend his money back home.
And now Idra attacking straight up with his 3 tanks and just handful of Goliaths. WhiterA evacuating most of his probes, just rallying on top of his ramp, getting a lot of Dragoons. All he needs to do right now is harass and pick stuff off. And here he goes at the natural. A bunch of carriers coming in. Only 2 Goliaths for Idra right now, trying to make turrets frantically. It's just not working. WhiterA is going to get a lot of kills with these. Look at this. The Goliaths cannot pop out quick enough. Carriers just outranging so much stuff, killing this turret. And meanwhile, at Raw's natural, he loses the Nexus, but WhiterA still a lot of carries. He's got 2 more at home. Looks like he's got 2 in the natural, but be careful, WhiterA. If you don't micro those just right, those Goliaths will pick you off. And look at that, microing right up, attacking those carriers, but they run away, killing a lot of Goliaths. Very good position here for WhiterA.
Yeah, the Protoss natural was taken down, so WhiterA's mining just very few minerals in his main base. That will run out in a couple minutes. Idra's in the same position. He has more minerals in his main base, but unless he's able to deal with these carriers, there's not much he can do about it. The carriers are getting lower health. That 1 carrier will go down right here. 1 more shot. Oh, 2 more carriers left inside the Terran base. WhiterA still pumping out of his 2 gates though, and he's got 3 carriers at home for defense. And there's not much Idra's going to be able to do once WhiterA decides to take back that expansion.
Indeed, there's really nothing that he could do to stop that because WhiterA is just pulling way far ahead. He's using this ledge over here, killing SCVs, destroying Idra's economy. Idra's super low on gas right now. He's got less than 50 gas. He can't even keep up the Goliath pump at this point. He's got not enough Goliaths. The range just finished, which explains some of the reason why he was having such a hard time with the carriers before. And Idra pulling back at the natural. 4 carriers at WhiterA's home, and a bunch of Dragoons coming out, gonna bust this, targeting those 2 tanks, 1 siege tank left in, a lot of turrets. He's just targeting that siege tank. Will he kill it? Nope, he's just targeting some turrets now while the Dragoons run by. Once these Dragoons get over here to start hitting on the pure Goliath that Idra's having to pump, it's really going to get brutal. I mean, Goliaths are not any good against Dragoons, and we're about to see that. Here he goes, chasing this carrier, takes another one down finally. Will the third go down? No, it won't. It runs over to the cliff. But here comes WhiterA's ground use. A little bit sloppy right there. He loses all the goons before the carriers get there. Not his best move right there. And now he has to run these carriers away to a cliff because Idra has quite a few Goliaths.
He actually knows that WhiterA has no interceptors. He was targeting the interceptors as opposed to the carriers. Unfortunately, those interceptors looked really sloppy against the tanks, taking a lot of hits from the turrets. A lot of them went down. And WhiterA trying to take this tank out. Idra's reaction is just unbelievably quick. He sees that unsieges. Unfortunately, it gets surrounded. And I think Idra is completely back in this game now. He's still getting harassed at his natural, but he's reestablished mining at his natural. He's looking good.
Yeah, he has. And the carriers right now, WhiterA low on minerals. He's got about 300 right now. Just picking off these interceptors is an extremely good idea. The more he picks off, the less units that WhiterA is going to be able to afford, the less damage WhiterA is going to do. Forget about killing the carriers right now. It's a low economy game. Kill those interceptors, and that is exactly what Idra's doing. A lot of turrets is natural. And look at this. Idra looks like he may be moving out. He wants to attack WhiterA's natural. If he can stop him from mining minerals, then that will be quite big. But no, look at this. He's circling back around. Still annoyed with these carriers, but really, you have enough Goliaths there to pick off interceptors. Go hit his natural, Idra. Go, go, go. We don't want the Terrans eliminated yet.
Yeah, I think the problem is Terrans these days have enough experience fighting carriers. They know how to deal with it. They know when to run back, when to snipe the interceptors, when to snipe the carriers. It really turns into a problem when you have a large ground army underneath just wailing on the Goliaths while the interceptors fly back and forth. And WhiterA just couldn't establish that army. He had to show his carriers too soon. And now Idra is able to go just pure Goliath. And I don't know if WhiterA has a response to this attack. He's got several carriers, but not many ground forces.
Yeah, this is looking very...
Yeah, WhiterA's been unable to mass any kind of land army because interceptors has been more expensive, and Idra moving directly in for the kill into the Protoss natural. WhiterA's carriers were far away there on the other side of the map. They are cruising back. There are 5 left. But he is having to run all his probes away from his natural expansion. It looks like he's going to lose another Nexus. Meanwhile, back at the Terran main, Idra has his supply back up and running. He's got tons of SCVs by his natural, and he's looking like he's in a strong position here to take the rest of the game since WhiterA is broke. All Idra has to do is kill interceptors, and he's going to win this game.
That is true. No need to carry carriers right now. Just kill those interceptors, back off, let him long distance mine a little bit, regroup your Goliaths. That's exactly what Idra needs to do here. If he loses all these Goliaths, it could be hard. His economy still isn't that good. His main is gone, but his natural mining at full capacity, so he can still pump. And here he goes. WhiterA is still picking off a ton. He has a lot of carriers. You can never underestimate the power of carriers with good micro.
Yeah, for sure. Idra is doing a very good job, though, engaging and then running away. That's what you need to do. He's actually taken out a carrier now, and then he goes back to the interceptors. WhiterA moves in, and then Idra retreats. And WhiterA realizes it's impossible to finish this game and leaves. Wow, what an exciting game. Idra on the brink of elimination. Fights hard. That was incredible.
So, the last tied 1-1. Idra really pulling it out against WhiterA. I thought once WhiterA had those carriers out, and I really thought Idra was going to lose since his turrets were placed so far back. He was unable to maintain his push at the Protoss natural, and then somehow he got his Goliath numbers up. He was able to crush that expansion of WhiterA, and he got back into the game.
Yeah, that was some clutch play there by Idra. I mean, that could have gone the other way very easily. WhiterA really caught him by surprise and killed quite a large ground army with those carriers. And coupled with his excellent micro in the later game, Idra really had to be on his toes to take that out.
Alright, so before we start up Game 3, this will be our last game for today's broadcast. Again, tomorrow we will have yet another broadcast. This is the first 8 players, the second 8 players, and of course this is single elimination. Once you're out, you're done, and the winners go on to the quarterfinals. Quick review of what's going on tomorrow. We're going to have the next Terran player, Brat OK, against Hey Pro. That'll be the first matchup. Up next will be Ret Media against Othello Noni. I'm really looking forward to that Protoss versus Zerg. Noni has just been on fire lately, and Ret, he's one of those bicycle StarCraft players I told you about. He just picks it up, and it's just natural for him. The third game will be another MIM member against Rondo. Dino T against Rondo. That'll be Protoss versus Zerg. And our last one will be Protoss versus Zerg, featuring the #1 seed, Tot Mondragon, against Mim Dreven. Dreven also showing impressive games lately, especially on TL Attack. He was very good on that.